Hi, welcome back home. We're pulling another card today. Let's hope it's a juicy one. And if it's not, then I'll probably pull two cards because who cares? I am gonna do level 3 reflection today. Let's see what we can reflect about. See if one speaks to me. Come on, we're not really strangers. Give me a juicy guy. I'm feeling good about this one. Put these back. What would be the perfect gift for me? Oh my God, I'm so glad you asked. Honestly, I'm not really a physical gift person. Not for any occasion. I love a just because gift, but it can literally be like a cool rock. Like I collect rocks that are shaped like hearts, and I actually have a pretty impressive collection, and I just find them out. I don't buy them, I find them just out on hikes throughout the years. And I have like 10, and I get so excited every time I see one. So honestly, if you found a heart-shaped rock and presented it to me as a gift, I would probably cry. I don't know, just the simple joys. Like when nature can just hand you something like that and be like, look at this. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. So anyways, I like just because gifts. I like, like my brother got me a watering can that is shaped like an elephant because elephants are his favorite. And I love that. It's such a sweet gift. So I do love a just because gift, but if it was like an occasion, like a happy birthday, I would actually much rather prefer an experience. I'm big on just like maximizing every drop of this juicy life. So I would really love just like a cool trip somewhere, a cool excursion, a road trip, like a day trip somewhere, like just an adventure, an experience would be really cool. One time, someone I was dating at the time, this was a long time ago, I think it was for my birthday or something, but actually I have 2 stories about him, but one time I went to work. At the time I was working at a Walgreens and I was working in the pharmacy. I was a little pill pusher. Working in the pharmacy in the morning, I get there at 8 and my manager is like, you're not supposed to be working today. And I was like, what do you mean? Yes, I am. And I immediately, of course, like think I'm getting fired. And they're like, no, you're definitely not working today. And I was like, yes, I am. Like I was definitely like a little combative. I was like, yes, I am. I'm working today. I'm working today. So I find out like a minute or 2 later, my boyfriend at the time calls me and is like, come back outside. And I was like, I'm working today. Just so confused. And I go back outside and he had called my work and had like requested these days off. And like he had figured it out with my managers and had packed a bag for me and put it in the car, dropped me off at work, and then he's like, just kidding, we're going on a trip. And we went on a road trip somewhere. And I was like that shit, I love that. It's so fun. Similarly, like one time it sounds weird, but he like blindfolded me and then we went on a road trip. I fully trusted this person. I did not think it was gonna go sour, and it didn't. But I was blindfolded. Once we got to an area where he thought I might like recognize where we were, like I was able to like, I wasn't blindfolded for like 2 hours. I was, once we got out of the city and we're driving, and then when we start getting closer to certain exits that he was gonna take or whatever, he then had me put my blindfold on. So, which was great because then I just took a nap. It was excellent. And I woke up and we were at our destination and it was like a whole surprise, like stayed in this cool campground of like restored Airstreams and like a boat. And so we stayed in this cool restored boat on land. You'd have to be there. It was cool, I promise. But just stuff like that. So I think for me, like those kinds of gifts are really fun because it's an experience. It's an adventure. I love an adventure. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. I just love being surprised in that way of like, hey, I planned this out for us. All you got to do is show up and then we're going to go. We're going to just do this. So yeah, that would be the perfect gift for me, or a rock. A heart-shaped rock. That was kind of a short answer, so I'll pull another from the deck. I thought level 3 was supposed to be like real deep. Maybe this one will be. It says, what do you think my superpower is, but you don't know me? So I'm gonna ask myself, what do I think my superpower is? Okay, this is gonna sound so freaking corny, but I really do think my superpower is loving. Like I love to love on people. I love to be someone's hype girl. Like I will do everything I can to build you up and tell you how amazing you are I can find a zillion reasons why you're amazing, and I will tell you all of them if you have the time. Like that's how I am. Like I love building people up, making them feel good about themselves, being that hype girl, being super encouraging. It just brings me a lot of joy. And obviously it makes the other person feel like they can do anything. Like I just want people that I encounter in my life to leave our conversation, our interaction, whatever, feeling like, damn, she thinks I'm great. Maybe I am great. You know, like, she really saw like a lot of cool things about me. Like maybe I am those things. So that's what I strive for. I think that if I could have a traditional superpower, I would absolutely choose flying because I'd be able to see the whole world and from a really cool perspective. And I would just fly everywhere. I would never be on the ground. I would be airborne always, just seeing stuff, just flying. A lot of people, I feel like people ask this question, like, what superpower would you have? And a lot of people will say like mind reading, like reading minds. No way. Absolutely not. I don't want to know what you're thinking. Most people are not thinking great things. I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I love being blissfully unaware of what anybody is thinking, especially if it's about me. I don't want to know. It could be something bad. So definitely not reading minds. Also, like being invisible, like, why are you sneaking around? Why you gotta be invisible? Why can't you just show up and be not invisible? Why are you sneaking? What are you hiding? What are you hiding from? What are the other superpowers? I don't even know. Like, what are the basic answers? Being able to time travel would be really cool. If I could time travel, I'm just like generating new questions for myself. If I could time travel anywhere, so glad you asked. I would definitely day one of Woodstock, 1969, I think is the year. Day one, whole weekend, playing in the mud, showing up to every set, not sleeping, being crazy. That would be me. I don't know if you've ever seen the Woodstock documentary, but it's amazing. Just all the music from that time was so good. It was so good. I love 60s music. Oh, so good. So I would definitely go there. I'd have to think about it. You know, I would really love to like also travel back in time to like just playing in the backyard with my brother when we were kids. I mean, my brother and I talk a lot. We talk almost every day on the phone. And today, actually, we were talking about like childhood, like playing was so fun. Like, you know, we were like the last of the generation that actually didn't have technology at our fingertips. Like cell phones weren't a thing. We didn't have a home computer till we were a little bit older. And so when we were bored, we just like made stuff up. We used our imagination. We played outside a lot. If we were annoying my parents, we had a big backyard, which was such a blessing. Like, oh my God, I'm so grateful all the time for the yard that we had growing up. I hope one day to have a big backyard. Like that would just, So if we were pissing my parents off, they would just lock us out back. They would literally be like, go outside, and then we would try the door and it would be locked. So they would lock us in the backyard until the sun went down. Like, go play, get it all out of your system. We would drink water from the hose. We were just, again, we had a great big backyard, so that was super fun. We had a swing set and a trampoline, and we would just I remember we would lift up big rocks. We had the big river rocks for this cool rock display that we had in our yard, and we would lift them up to see what bugs were underneath. And it was usually roly-polies. Do other people call them roly-polies? I've also heard they're called pill bugs. I don't know what they're actually called. I call them roly-polies. And we would just collect all the roly-polies and the worms and just look at them, watch them crawl around, and then put them back. We also did this really, I've told some people this story. It's so weird. I know it was my idea as well. As the older sister, most of the ideas were mine. All summer long, growing up in Arizona, we get cicadas or locusts in the summertime. And they're those loud, disgusting, buzzy creatures. And we had them, they leave shells. They shed their skin. Ugh. And they would leave their shell stuck to tree bark, on our swing set, just all over the place outside. And I am a very ceremonial gal. So I was like, let's collect all the locust shells all summer long. And so we did. And we put them in this big bucket in our treehouse. And they just stayed there all summer in the bucket. And I remember I did this multiple summers. The last weekend before we'd have to go back to school, I would say, okay, let's crush up all the shells and throw them out the treehouse window and watch them blow away in the wind. I'm a child. Blow away in the wind to mark the end of summer. And my brother would just do whatever I said. He's 3 years younger than me. And he was like, okay. And so we would mash them all up and throw them out the window, and we'd be like, yay, summer's over. I love my ideas. I love my ideas as a kid. Very creative, very fun. But you know what? We weren't like this in our phones. We didn't have phones. We were allowed an hour of TV time, an hour of computer time when we had a computer, an hour of video games when we had video games. I'm just really grateful that we have nuggets, those precious nuggets of memories of life before technology, certainly at the capacity that we have it now and the dependence level that we have now. I'm just so grateful that I have childhood memories of that. I really feel for the kids. I mean, they don't know any better, but I really do feel for the kids these days that, were given iPads at a young age. They've just kind of always been exposed to screens their whole lives. I'm really grateful for that. So yeah, time travel back to childhood, summertime, playing in the backyard. Also, why as a kid do you have just no concept of how hot it was? I know for a fact we were playing outside in the backyard all summer in Arizona every day. And I don't ever remember being I'm gonna pass out, it's so hot. What's with the temperature regulation as a kid? Are we better at it as children? Or do you just don't care? You're not really noticing that you're hot as a kid? We would just be out there playing all day. I mean, granted, we would have the hose and sprinklers and stuff, but I don't have a single memory of being I'm so hot, I need to go inside and cool off. I run one errand in the summertime here, and I'm exhausted. I need to lay down. I need a nap. I need my electrolytes. I don't know. It's just really interesting. But yeah, time traveling would be cool. Still flying is number one. Where would I fly to first? I like how I'm just pretending that you're asking me this question. Where would I fly to first? Well, I think I would need to figure out how long I could fly for. How fast am I going? What's my speed? What's my top speed? Because my initial thought was Croatia, but that's a long flight depending on my speed. And I don't know. I guess I could pack snacks, or I could stop anywhere and get a snack. I can fly and also walk on the ground. It's the superior superpower, in my opinion. being able to like this, I remember the first time I ever went to Monument Valley, which is on the border of Arizona and Utah. If you've never seen what Monument Valley looks like, you probably actually have, because it's like a very iconic photo of these 3 gigantic rock formations sitting in this vast desert. And a lot of old Westerns were filmed in Monument Valley. Not that I've ever seen a Western in my life, but I just know that. So maybe you haven't seen a Western, so this is irrelevant. But regardless, they're just these gigantic rock formations. And for some reason, I just totally geek out about them. And I remember the first time that I went to Monument Valley and I saw them in person, I was like, all I want to do is be a bird so that I can fly to the top of these things and just sit on the top of these things and just look out at the land and the world. I love that. Like I love being on top of like very high things. And I would much rather do that as a bird or just as someone who could fly so that I didn't have to worry about like falling off. It would be terrifying. I'm not afraid of heights, but I'm definitely afraid of falling. Definitely have been on some hikes where the destination was great. Like the final, I'm not going to say final destination, the final, like the end goal of the hike was incredible with crazy elevation gain. And I don't mind the challenge. But when you're just like looking down and you're like, oh my God, I could slip. I don't know if other people do this, but I will like create the scenario where I'm like, this is how I would slip and this is how I would fall and that is where I would land. And like, I just like kind of freak myself out about it a little bit. So I try not to do that, but sometimes it's inevitable, you know? It's just those intrusive thoughts that sneak in sometimes. I don't know if anybody else has those, but I have them. So yeah, my superpower is flying, but if I could travel in time. Oh, I didn't pick a destination. Okay, so I can fly. Where am I going? I think just because it was kind of like my very first memory of like, ooh, I wish I could fly. I think I would go to Monument Valley and just sit on the rocks and bask in the sun. Sick. Like, what a day. I really can't think of anything better. Just like feeling the breeze and you're just on top of this massive rock formation that's been around for like who knows, 1 billion years. There's probably an actual answer to that. I don't know what it is, but it's probably not 1 billion years. A lot of years. It's been there for a lot of years. So that would just be cool. And then like, you know, fly down, get a snack, get some fry bread, buy some turquoise, and then fly home or fly to the next destination. I mean, I just don't see how that's not the most superior superpower. It's so good. So anyways, okay, thanks for watching. Welcome back home.